Listen to me. You don't need to beg, break, or bend. You just need one thing: your power. And today I'll teach you how to own that power and walk through friendship drama like a queen without losing your crown. You know what separates a woman who's respected from a girl who's constantly taken for granted? It's not how loud she screams back, it's how silently she walks away with her self-worth intact. Don't react, respond like a queen. There's a difference. Reactions are instant, emotional, messy, but a response that's calculated, calm, and classy. And baby, nothing is more dangerous than a woman who knows how to keep her peace in the middle of chaos. Think about it. You're sitting with your group of friends, and suddenly someone throws shade at you, disguised as a joke, or she only got that promotion because she flirts with the manager. Now, the old you would have exploded, maybe fired back, maybe cried later. But the new you, the queen you're becoming, doesn't engage in street fights. She simply smiles and says, well, you're entitled to your opinion, and changes the subject. That silence, that confidence, that's not weakness, that's power. Because you just showed them you can't be shaken by gossip, insecurity, or cheap shots. Let me give you another example. You find out a close friend has been talking behind your back. You feel betrayed, your heart is pounding, your mind wants to scream. How could you? But pause. Take a breath. Don't rush into reaction mode. Meet them face to face, look them in the eye, and say, I heard some things that hurt me. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to understand if they're true. Now watch what happens. You've shifted the energy. You're not begging. You're not accusing. You're leading the conversation. That's what a queen does. She doesn't fuel drama. She handles it with grace that stings more than any revenge. Imagine a situation where your bestie starts giving you cold vibes out of nowhere. She used to text every day, now she leaves you unseen. Earlier it would have made you spiral, overthinking, double texting, checking her stories, but not anymore. Now you say if someone's silence speaks louder than their presence, believe them and you move on. That's not ego, that's dignity. Because queens don't beg to be kept. They're either valued or they leave. At college or work, when someone tries to embarrass you in front of others, maybe mocks your accent, your outfit, your ideas, you don't need to clap back. Just look at them with a smile and say, not everyone has taste. Let them choke on their own bitterness. Because the most elite response is not a comeback, it's walking away like it didn't even scratch you. Every time you react emotionally to drama, you hand over your remote control to someone else. They press your buttons and watch you dance. But when you respond, you take that remote back. You say, I control me, not you. That's next level strength. That's emotional intelligence. That's royalty. A queen doesn't chase explanations, she delivers boundaries. A queen doesn't raise her voice, she raises her standards. A queen doesn't lose her cool, she owns every room she walks into. Even when her heart is breaking inside, her face says, I got me. That calmness in the middle of betrayal, that unbothered walk when the world is whispering, that's not arrogance. That's discipline. That's self-mastery. Because in this world full of noise, the girl who doesn't react becomes the loudest. The one who doesn't fight for attention becomes unforgettable. The one who walks away instead of burning bridges becomes the blueprint for grace. Remember, every time someone tries to pull you into chaos, smile and say, I'm not coming down to your level. I'm building higher floors. Loyalty is a sacred thing. It's not a favor. It's not charity. It's a reflection of how much you value someone's presence in your life. But the truth is, loyalty is a two-way street. And if you're the only one walking it, then darling, you're not in a friendship, you're in a trap. So many women, so many strong souls waste their loyalty on people who would never even cross a puddle for them, let alone a storm. Let me break it down with a simple example. You're the type of friend who checks in. Are you okay? Do you need anything? How did your exam go? You remember birthdays, you defend them when they're not in the room. But when it's your turn to fall apart, Silence. They don't show up. No call, no text. They're too busy. Now read this carefully. People make time for what they care about. Loyalty isn't tested when things are good. Loyalty is tested in your darkest hour. When you're at your lowest, who stands beside you? That's your tribe. Another day-to-day example. You just achieved something amazing. Maybe you started a business, got a promotion, won an award, and you're glowing with happiness. But instead of celebrating, your so-called friends suddenly go quiet. No congratulations. Just side eyes and awkward silence. That's not loyalty, that's jealousy. And jealousy disguised as friendship is the most dangerous toxin. A loyal friend doesn't compete with you. They clap for you. Because your win feels like their win too. If you're always clapping for them but they never clap for you, you're not in a friendship. You're in a one-sided performance. Let's talk about trust. Loyalty without trust is like a house with no foundation. You tell your friend something in confidence. Your heart, your pain, your vulnerability. And then 2 days later, your story's floating around in other people's mouths. You confront them and they say, oh, come on, I was just venting. It's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal. Because a loyal friend guards your secrets like their own. They protect your name when you're not in the room. If they're not doing that, they're not walking with you, they're walking over you. You see, a loyal friendship doesn't drain you, it fills you. It doesn't leave you questioning your worth, it reminds you of it. And if you constantly feel like you have to earn someone's love, loyalty, or presence, you're not loved. You're tolerated. There's a huge difference. Loyalty is mutual respect, mutual energy, mutual effort. Not just you calling, texting, planning, supporting, cheering, defending, while they just receive it all like royalty without ever lifting a finger for you. One more scenario. You're in a group, the friend who's always with you suddenly blends into the crowd when others are mocking you or throwing shade at you. They don't defend you, they laugh with them, and later they come back to you and say, you know, I didn't mean to, I was just stuck. That's not loyalty, that's convenience. Loyalty means standing up for your people, even if you stand alone. Because silence in moments of betrayal is also betrayal. You need to remind yourself that your loyalty is a luxury, not everyone deserves it. Just because you've known someone for years doesn't mean they deserve you for a lifetime. Time doesn't equal loyalty, consistency does. Action does. Reciprocity does. So here's the deal. Stop walking that two-way street by yourself. Stop pouring into cups that don't pour back. If they can't match your loyalty, they don't deserve your presence. If they disappear in your struggle but show up for your celebration, they're just cloud chasers in disguise. You're not difficult. You're not dramatic. You're just finally choosing yourself over draining dynamics. Protect your energy because not everyone deserves access to it. Drama is not entertainment, it's a leak. A leak that slowly drains your power, your peace, your purpose. Every time you get pulled into someone else's chaos, you lose a piece of your clarity. And the most powerful women in the world, they don't waste their energy on things that don't build them. They guard it like a crown because they know that protecting your energy is the beginning of protecting your soul. Let's talk about those constant group chats. The ones filled with gossip, shade, and toxic vibes. You wake up, check your phone, and there it is. Drama about who said what, who's dating who betrayed who. None of it feeds your goals. None of it brings you peace. But still, you scroll, you engage, and suddenly your whole mood is hijacked. That's not friendship. That's spiritual theft. Because the conversations you participate in shape the person you're becoming. You can't be working on becoming a woman of vision while entertaining circles that thrive on division. Imagine you're having a good day. You're productive, focused, glowing. Then someone calls you, they're crying, they're angry, they're venting about the same person they swore they were done with last week. You sit there, pouring your heart out, trying to help them heal wounds they refuse to stop reopening, and when you finally need someone, they're nowhere. Protect your energy. You're not a dumping ground for broken people who don't want to be better. You're not responsible for fixing others at the cost of breaking yourself. Energy is not infinite. You only have so much to give in a day, so why waste it on people who don't value your peace? Think about this. You've got goals, dreams, deadlines. Maybe you're building a business. Maybe you're healing from heartbreak. Maybe you're just trying to stay mentally stable in a world that wants to pull you down. And every moment you spend arguing, explaining, proving, or overthinking someone's actions, you are stealing time from your future self, from your queen self. You ever walk into a room and just feel heavy? That's energy. Sometimes the loudest chaos is silent. It's the tension, the fakeness, the envy disguised as support. And if you're not careful, you start shrinking yourself to fit in. You lower your vibration to match the noise. But queens don't lower their frequency, they change rooms. You have every right to walk away from anything that kills your spark. That doesn't mean you're rude. That means you're rare. Let's talk about emotional vampires, people who only show up when they need something. They love the drama, they live in it, and they want you to drown in it too. Every conversation starts with, "You won't believe what happened," and ends with you feeling exhausted, anxious, and used. Say this out loud: I am not available for emotional chaos today. You are allowed to outgrow people who keep choosing problems over peace. You are allowed to choose quiet over conflict. That's not weakness. That's evolution. Now think about how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do you feel inspired, uplifted? Or do you feel small, drained, second-guessing your worth? Your energy is your currency. Spend it wisely. You wouldn't give your last dollar to someone who wastes it, right? So why give your energy to someone who only drains it? Drama has no nutritional value. It doesn't grow you. It doesn't serve you. It just distracts you from your higher self. And if you keep feeding drama, don't be surprised when your peace starves. A focused woman is unstoppable, but a distracted woman is easily manipulated. The most powerful thing you can say is, "This doesn't deserve my energy," and walk away, not with hate, but with honor. Because your energy, that's your empire. And you don't let chaos sit on your throne. Never compete in a circle meant for celebration. That line right there is your freedom. You weren't born to dim your light just so someone else can shine. And you definitely weren't created to enter silent competitions with people who are supposed to be your biggest cheerleaders. Friendship is not a race. It's not a battlefield. It's supposed to be a stage where each of you clap the loudest when the other wins. If you constantly feel like you have to prove you're better, prettier, smarter, more successful just to be seen in your own friend group, you're not in a sisterhood, you're in a silent war. Let's talk about a moment we've all experienced. You share some exciting news, maybe you just got engaged, got a job promotion, started your business, or got accepted into your dream college. You expect excitement. You expect, "OMG, I'm so proud of you." But instead you're met with dry smiles, fake "oh, congrats," and a switch in energy so quick it slaps you. That room? That group? That's not a celebration circle. That's a comparison trap. And it's dangerous because it silently poisons your self-worth. Imagine this. You're working on yourself, eating better, glowing up, healing your mindset, and then your so-called friend starts throwing backhanded compliments. "Wow, you've been working out. Must be nice to have all that time." That's not love. That's insecurity dressed up in sarcasm. Because real friends don't throw shade, they throw support. They don't compete with your growth, they contribute to it. Another example, you've got this passion, maybe you're singing, painting, writing, creating. You finally put your work out into the world. You're vulnerable, proud, nervous, and your friends say nothing. But you find out later they watched it, saw it, heard it, and said nothing. Not even a like, not a share. But the minute someone else does the same thing, they're hyping them up publicly. That's silence? It's not forgetfulness. It's competition. And competition inside a celebration circle is betrayal in disguise. You need to be surrounded by women who say, "Let's fix each other's crowns," without telling the world they were crooked. You need people who don't shrink when you rise, who don't gossip when you're not in the room, who say your name in spaces where opportunities are handed out. Because if your wins feel like losses to your friends, then babe, they were never your friends. They were just waiting for you to fall behind. Don't fall into the trap of proving, of posting just to be seen, of achieving just to be validated. The moment you feel like you're in a competition, step back. Real friends don't make you doubt your shine. They wear sunglasses to your glow and keep cheering. Think about group dynamics. In a healthy circle, when one girl wins, they all win. One girl's success becomes fuel for the others. It's like a chain reaction of celebration. But in toxic circles, one girl's success becomes a threat. Suddenly you feel judged, side-eyed, analyzed. That's when you know this isn't love, it's rivalry masked as sisterhood. You don't have to be the loudest, the prettiest, the smartest, or the richest to belong. You just have to be authentic. And if your authenticity threatens people, that's a reflection of their insecurity, not your value. Remember this. Your circle should water you, not drown you. They should hype your smallest wins and protect your biggest dreams. Because when women truly support each other, magic happens. So the next time you feel that tension, that strange shift when you're winning, remind yourself, you're not too much, they're just too small to clap. You're not shining too bright, they're just not used to the light. And you were never meant to compete in a space that was supposed to celebrate you. Clear the air or clear the room. Because silence, when soaked in tension, becomes poison. When there's something unsaid, something heavy hanging in the space between you and someone you care about, it grows. It turns into resentment, into assumptions, into full-blown stories that never even happened. And suddenly you're not dealing with truth, you're dealing with imagination dressed as reality. Communication isn't just about speaking, it's about healing. And sometimes the boldest thing you can do is to say, let's talk. Think about a moment when a friend started acting different. The calls became shorter, the replies became dry. The vibe? Off. But no one says anything. You keep pretending, smiling, sending reels, acting like everything is fine when deep down your gut is screaming, something's wrong. That right there is emotional tension. It doesn't go away on its own. You either clear the air with honesty or watch the relationship rot from inside out. Truth heals avoidance kills. Let's say you've had a falling out. Words were exchanged. Maybe some hurt happened, intentionally or not. Now both sides are waiting for the other to apologize. But guess what? Pride and ego are the quickest ways to lose people who once meant the world to you. If you value that person, speak. Say, hey, I don't want this distance between us. Can we talk it out? That one sentence has the power to save years of love. But if you let ego drive the friendship, you'll crash it every time. But sometimes clearing the air doesn't bring peace, it brings truth. And that truth is, some people were never your people. That's when you clear the room. Because clarity can be cleansing, but it can also be cutting. If someone constantly avoids accountability, shifts blame, turns a conversation into a guilt trip or a gaslight session, walk away. You don't need to keep re-explaining your boundaries to someone who keeps breaking them. Here's a powerful reality. Not every connection deserves a second conversation. If you've tried to clear the air and all you get is drama, deflection, or disrespect, that's your cue. Clear the room. That means mentally, emotionally, and energetically remove yourself from that space. Because your peace should never be a negotiation. You can forgive someone and still move forward without them. Closure doesn't always come in the form of mutual understanding. Sometimes it's just you deciding that silence is safer than chaos. Think about family. Maybe there's an aunt or cousin who throws passive-aggressive comments every time you succeed. You've stayed quiet for years out of respect. But every time you leave that gathering, you feel smaller, less. Like you've just been emotionally robbed. That's when you realize peace doesn't come from avoiding conflict, it comes from addressing it. You don't have to yell, you don't have to argue. You can simply say, that comment didn't sit well with me. Let's keep it respectful. And if they can't handle that, you know what to do. Clear the room, in workplaces too. Maybe you're being undermined by a colleague. Instead of shrinking, speak. Set the record straight, professionally, firmly. Because silence can be mistaken for weakness and unclear boundaries invite disrespect. A queen never begs for respect, but she demands it by standing in her truth. Even if her voice shakes, she speaks. Even if it costs her comfort, she chooses clarity. So many people are walking around hurt, Not because someone did something wrong, but because they never had the courage to have the uncomfortable conversation. And here's the truth, uncomfortable conversations build unbreakable bonds, or they break fragile illusions. Either way you win, because honesty is a mirror. It shows you what's real and what's not. There is no loyalty in silent suffering. There is no growth in fake peace. And there is no strength in pretending everything's okay when it's not. So when the air gets thick, don't ignore it, clear it. And if they won't meet you in honesty, don't meet them in your space. You were born to live free, not emotionally hostage to someone else's avoidance. Don't be afraid to outgrow people. It doesn't mean you're arrogant. It doesn't mean you've forgotten your roots. It means you've chosen your evolution over their comfort zone. And that's not betrayal, that's survival. We live in a world where people glorify loyalty even when it's toxic. But here's the hard truth. Not everyone who started with you is meant to grow with you. And the faster you accept that, the freer you become. Think about plants. You don't keep a tree in the same tiny pot forever, right? As it grows, you replant it into bigger soil with more sunlight, more water, and more space. Why? Because it needs room to expand. But when it comes to people, we hold on. We try to shrink ourselves to fit into old friendships, old habits, old patterns, just to keep everyone comfortable. But growth was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to challenge you, to stretch you, to elevate you, and some people simply don't want to climb that high. You may have a childhood friend who used to be your everything. You laughed together, cried together, shared secrets and dreams. But as you started growing, spiritually, emotionally, professionally, they didn't. Now when you talk about your dreams, they mock them. When you talk about healing, they say you've changed. When you talk about boundaries, they say you're dramatic. And you start feeling guilty for becoming who you were always meant to be. But listen to me. Growth is not the villain. Stagnation is. Sometimes the only crime you commit is becoming too big for a box they were comfortable keeping you in. And when you break free, they won't clap. They'll criticize. They'll say, you've changed. As if that's a bad thing. Sis, you're supposed to change. You're supposed to elevate. You're supposed to level up in mind, in energy, in soul. And if they loved the old version of you but resent the evolved version, that wasn't love, that was control. In your 20s, 30s, even 40s, you'll notice something. You'll start craving peace more than popularity. You'll choose solo lunches over fake brunches. You'll prefer honesty over hype. And that shift, that's growth. But it comes with a cost. You might find yourself in rooms where your old friends no longer fit. Their energy doesn't align, their conversation drains you. Their habits remind you of who you were, not who you're becoming. That's when you have to bless them silently and move on loudly. Let's say you've started working on yourself. You're reading more, meditating, learning how to say no, creating boundaries, being selective with your time. Suddenly, you're too much or too distant for those who were never used to seeing you love yourself. They miss the version of you that was always available, always apologizing, always shrinking. And now they label your growth as attitude. But real ones clap when you rise. They adjust, evolve with you, celebrate your glow up, not question it. Even in relationships, sometimes the person you loved deeply, truly, once matched your soul. But now your paths diverge. You want more from life. You've healed parts of you that they are still avoiding. You crave purpose, they chase comfort. And staying in that space just because you've been together so long is emotional self-sabotage. Time served is not a reason to stay stuck. You're not a prisoner of your past, you're the architect of your becoming. So when the universe starts removing people from your life, don't chase, don't beg, don't lower your vibration just to feel included. Trust the separation. It's making space for elevation. Some people are chapters, few are the whole book. Learn to tell the difference. And never feel guilty for choosing your light over their shadow. You owe it to the woman you're becoming, not the girl you used to be. The ones who truly belong in your life will never be threatened by your growth. They'll rise with you, evolve beside you. They won't guilt trip you for outgrowing the past. They'll grow roots with you into the future. So yes, it's okay to love people from afar. It's okay to keep the memory and still walk away. Outgrowing people isn't an act of ego. It's an act of soul-level self-respect. Set boundaries and stick to them. Because without boundaries, people will treat your life like a playground. They'll swing in and out, stomp on your peace, and leave their mess behind. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out. They are doors with locks. You choose who gets a key. You choose who stays, who knocks, and who never enters again. It's not being cold, it's being clear. Imagine this. Your phone buzzes at midnight. Again. It's that friend who only calls when she's in crisis, never when you're drowning. She trauma dumps, vents, rants, unloads. And when you finally share what you're going through, she changes the topic. Every time. And yet, you keep picking up that call because you don't want to seem mean. But what about you? What about your sleep, your sanity, your emotional space? Saying, I'm not available right now, can we talk tomorrow? Isn't selfish, it's survival. Because the more you let people violate your boundaries, the more they forget you have any. Setting a boundary is like putting a price tag on your peace. If someone can't afford it, they don't get to have it. Whether it's friends who constantly cancel last minute, co-workers who dump their workload on you, or relatives who always cross lines with harmless jokes, it's time to say no. Not maybe, not I'll think about it, but a full, unapologetic no. And here's the magic. The people who truly love and respect you won't be offended by your boundaries. They'll honor them. Because they understand that a healthy no creates room for a powerful yes. Think about work. You go above and beyond, take on extra tasks, skip your lunch breaks, answer emails at 10 p.m. And soon it becomes the expectation, not the exception. Now you're burned out, exhausted, resentful, and no one knows. Because you never said anything. You never set that line. Speak up. Say, I'll get to it during working hours. Say, I need help with this. I'm overloaded. If you don't teach people how to treat you, they will treat you however they want. And let's talk relationships. Emotional boundaries are everything. You are not someone's therapist, savior, or punching bag. If someone constantly invalidates your feelings, manipulates your emotions, or crosses your lines with charm and excuses, set the boundary. Not once, not twice, every single time. Love is not proven by how much you tolerate. It's proven by how much you value yourself enough to walk away when your peace is compromised. Maybe you're a giver. The one who always says yes. The one who listens, shows up, bends over backwards just to make sure everyone else is okay. But here's the truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. And those who only love you when you're pouring will disappear when you're dry. Set boundaries to protect your energy, not just from others, but from the version of you that sacrifices too much, even with family. Yes, even blood. If someone constantly belittles your choices, disrespects your dreams, or makes you feel small during gatherings, it's okay to say, that's not okay with me. Just because they're family doesn't mean they get a free pass to trample your spirit. Respect doesn't come from relation, it comes from behavior. And if they won't respect your boundaries, respect yourself enough to distance. There's power in consistency. A boundary you don't stick to is just a suggestion. And people will test it. They'll push, they'll prod, they'll say, come on, just this once. That's when you remind them, not by yelling, not by begging, but by acting. People learn fast when your silence is followed by action. Stick to your line, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Because every time you uphold your boundary, you reinforce your worth. You weren't put on this earth to be liked by everyone. You were put here to be true to yourself. Boundaries aren't rejection, they're redirection. They lead you back to your center, your truth, your wholeness. The version of you that doesn't betray herself to be accepted. Because the most dangerous thing you can lose is not a friendship, a relationship, or a job. It's yourself. Be the girl who walks away gracefully, not with rage, not with noise, not with a dramatic exit, but with quiet power. With that unshakable look in her eyes that says, I know who I am and I know what I deserve. Grace is not weakness, it is restraint. It's knowing you could say everything, burn the bridge, expose the lie, hit back harder, but instead you choose silence because your peace is louder than their chaos. Think about a time you were misunderstood. Maybe it was your closest friend who twisted your words, gossiped behind your back, and acted like the victim. You had every receipt, every screenshot, every reason to blow up. And yet, you didn't. You let her talk. You let her believe what she needed to believe. Why? Because you understood that the truth doesn't need defending from someone who's already made up their mind. You walked away, not because you were defeated, but because staying would have cost you your dignity. That's grace. That's strength most people will never understand. Imagine you're in a relationship where you're constantly explaining your worth, begging to be seen, compromising your core just to be enough. One day you stop. You stop texting first. You stop chasing. You stop waiting for the apology that will never come. And instead you pack up your heart, lift your head and walk away. Gracefully. Not because you don't care, but because you care about yourself more. Because loving someone should never require you to abandon yourself. Graceful exits don't mean you're okay. They mean you respect the pain too much to keep bleeding for it. When a friend betrays you and you don't retaliate, you simply unfollow, detach, distance. People will ask why you're so calm. It's because you've mastered the art of letting go without losing yourself. There's power in not reacting. Power in choosing silence when you could scream. Power in walking away before you turn bitter. At work, when you're overlooked, underestimated, or taken for granted, you don't have to prove your value by overworking. You simply rise, quietly, consistently. And if they don't see it, you walk gracefully toward a place that does. Because staying in spaces where your magic is ignored is a slow death. Grace isn't about staying silent forever, it's about knowing when to speak and when to leave with your head held high. You might be the girl who's always been told to fix it, make peace, stay sweet. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is leave. Leave the table where love is served with conditions. Leave the circle that laughs when you fall. Leave the people who only clap when you're small. And when you leave, don't look back for closure. Don't look back to see if they noticed. Walk with grace. Because your exit is not for their attention. It's for your evolution. People may call you cold. Let them. They weren't there the nights you cried yourself to sleep questioning your worth. They weren't there when you swallowed your truth just to keep the peace. They don't get to narrate your strength. You do. And walking away without hate in your heart, without malice on your tongue, without dragging anyone through the mud, that is a level of emotional maturity only the healed know. There's something unshakably beautiful about a woman who knows she doesn't have to fight to be heard, seen, or loved. She just has to walk. Because real queens don't beg. They don't chase validation. They don't need the last word. They trust that what's meant for them will never require a war to keep. And what is it? They leave behind, not with bitterness, but with a smile that whispers, I loved you. I tried, but I love myself more. And so, my friends, I leave you with this. Life is not about waiting for things to change. It's about changing yourself so you can rise above every challenge, every storm, and every setback. We are not born to be ordinary. We are born to be extraordinary. Your worth is not defined by the circumstances you find yourself in, but by the strength you choose to cultivate from within. Never forget that you are the master of your destiny, the architect of your own success, and the keeper of your own peace. You see, life will throw obstacles your way, some big, some small. People will come and go, situations will test you. But there's one thing no one can ever take away from you, your inner power. It is yours, always. It doesn't depend on anyone's approval or recognition. Your value is not up for debate, it's unshakable. And when you understand that, when you realize that, your peace, your happiness, your success, all come from within, you become unstoppable. There's a famous saying, the only limit to our realization of tomorrow is our doubts of today. So I ask you, what are you waiting for? What are you holding back for? The time is now. The world needs your light, your fire, your uniqueness. Stop dimming yourself for others. Be bold, be fierce, be unapologetic. Every time you step into a room, walk like you own it. Not because of arrogance, but because you know your worth. Not because of pride, but because you have nothing to prove. You are a force. Look at the women who inspire you, the ones who have left an imprint on history. Every single one of them faced adversity. Every single one of them had people doubt them, belittle them, and try to hold them down. But they didn't give up. They didn't shrink. They stood tall. They believed in themselves when the world didn't. And that's what made them legends. It wasn't their circumstances. It wasn't their background. It was their relentless belief in their own potential. And if you're waiting for a sign, here it is. The universe is waiting for you to rise. The only question is, will you? Will you rise above the drama? Will you rise above the doubts? Will you rise above the negativity? Will you rise above the limitations you've put on yourself? Because, my friend, the power is in your hands. The moment you decide that you deserve better, that you deserve success, love, peace, and happiness, it will be yours. But it begins with one thing. You must believe it first. No one has ever reached the pinnacle of greatness by staying in their comfort zone. It takes courage to step out, to take risks, to leave behind what no longer serves you. It takes courage to walk away from toxic situations, to set boundaries, to say no, to choose yourself. But that's where your growth lies. That's where your power is born. And every time you do, you will feel your strength multiply. You will feel the fire inside you burn brighter. You were not born to be small. You were born to be big, to leave a legacy, to create waves in this world. But to do that, you must stop caring about what others think of you. Stop worrying about fitting into their molds. Stop trying to make everyone happy. Your happiness is your responsibility. Your success is your responsibility. Your peace is your responsibility. So the next time life tests you, the next time someone tries to take you down, the next time you face a storm, I want you to remember one thing. You are stronger than you think. You are greater than you realize. And the world better watch out, because you're just getting started. The road won't always be easy, but remember, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So take that first step, take the leap, be fearless in the face of adversity, be relentless in the pursuit of your dreams. And when the world tries to tear you down, stand tall, walk away with grace, and remind them that you are untouchable, you are unstoppable, and you will rise.